On the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you workout in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I run it back to the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We are powered by Box Eye Care, as we are every day. But hey, it's a free-for-all Friday powered by TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness. They have a new location at 303 Hard Road East. Man, a lot of things we can talk about today. NFL draft last night. Alabama had 2 former players selected in the first round. And y'all, the NFL fooled around and let the Eagles get one of the guys we said they bet not last night. As well as Jalen Milroe is the one Bama guy at the draft that was not selected. Where will he go today? Were there any other surprises from the NFL draft? No, Shadir Sanders drafted last night. Only 2 first-round quarterbacks. As well, got a lot of other things around UA's campus we can talk about. A surprise, maybe not, a former Alabama basketball player is back on campus today with the chance to come back to the University of Alabama. We'll talk about that. And a lot of other topics we can get into today. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is a day that the Lord has made, so I will rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. I come to you today with a heavy heart and just dedicate today's program to my older brother, big brother, Hollis, who passed unexpectedly on yesterday. And so today I contribute this program to him. And, it's just way too soon. He's 57 years old, unexpected yesterday. So, it's kind of funny. In the last week, I had quoted him probably about 3 times and talked about some of the stuff he used to do. To me, I was always the younger brother, and he would always. The reason I say big brother is because he would always do the same thing that Xavier does to his younger brother, Chase. They would always go, "This is my little brother." Now, I was significantly larger, but he would not say younger brother. He would always say little brother. And Xavier does the same thing to Simeon, who was always bigger from about the time he turned, I think he called Xavier probably about middle school, but he was always just
about
big.
13.
Yeah, he was always bigger, but
13, 14.
So, but anyway, if I had the toughness of my brother, just the grit and things of my brother, I probably would have been a first-round draft pick. I was known as Big Nicey, and he was so aggressive. And one of the jokes was that if we ever got into a scuffle or disagreement, as long as Mom was at home, I could handle him because she wouldn't let it go too far. But when she wasn't at home, I tried to make sure nothing happened. I was tougher when Mom was around, X, but then I just, if y'all just bear with me, I would if we got into it, he would go. And Mom was at home, and of course she would stop it. He'd go, "You just wait till Mama go to work." You know what that meant, X? That meant that I got up, went to the bus stop an hour early. Regardless of whether rain or shine, I was going to be standing out there at the bus stop waiting, cold or hot. I was at the bus stop waiting to avoid that. But the other side of it, was he used to always tell me, but I better thank God that I could play football or I'd be America's biggest nerd. So, but nickname was Julio. I love you, bro. God bless you. It's a tough one today, but I thank all of you for the kind comments that that recognize just a guy that loved life and loved people. I'll miss you, and we'll honor you today by doing a good job. So God bless. Thanks.
Yeah. NFL draft was last night.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama had 2 players selected.
Turned out perfect. Booker. Yeah, I get that we had 2 players drafted, but I think it was about as perfect. If you're gonna have 2 guys drafted, it's about as perfect as it could be. I mean, if you were gonna say, okay, let me see, the only thing that would be different if they were to move it up. If they were to say, oh, I want to be drafted in the top 10. But if you say, which 2 teams will these 2 guys go on to have NFL careers that will be potentially legendary? You put Tyler Booker at a guard at Dallas. and especially with them wanting to get back to a run game, I think, to help support Dak and that Cowboys team. Top 12 pick, going earlier than expected. And then Jahad Campbell falling in what we say falling. I hate that, and Coach Saban even talked about it. We put expectation on these kids, and then we measure it based on what we predicted, not what the NFL teams have said. Because the reality of it is, there's 32 teams, but there's only a handful of teams that needs each position, right?
Right.
So there wasn't like there was this big run on outside edge guys, and Jihad Campbell ended up at 31 because there were 15 guys in front of him that played his position, right? So,
if you look at it from that standpoint of it, Deuce had a game last night, and so I got home about pick 15. And pick 15 was
so I missed the first. The Falcons were picking, which I think was number 16.
Right. Yeah. And they announced Jalen Walker, but they announced Jalen Walker as a defensive end.
Yeah.
Then it was James Pierce when they traded back in. Jihad, of these guys, Jihad Campbell was the first one that you heard linebacker. Yeah.
He was the first inside linebacker, wasn't he?
He was the first inside linebacker.
Right. Yeah.
And so
that's just like what was it?
Brian Branch a couple years ago.
Brian Branch, right?
Mm-hmm.
No safety went in the first round, and then he was the first pick off the board in the second round, but he was the first safety taken.
Right.
So, and even with Xavier and Jalen Milroe, right now they're sitting in the second round. But when was the last time we saw two quarterbacks taken, and one of them what's the name, like pick 20 or something like that?
25, and it was a trade up.
Right. And so he's not one of my favorite people, Brian Daboll. And I'm going to talk about this. I thought Saban was wrong. I thought Saban did something that threw bad shade on Jalen Hurts last night. It didn't offend me, but it made me go, why would you say that? Did you hear what he said?
No, I didn't.
Okay, we'll say, ask me on the other side because we have to get the break. I was shocked when Saban said what he said because of not because he necessarily said anything wrong, but it shows it speaks to what I had said about Brian Daboll all year and why Jalen Hurts did not progress under his leadership as a quarterback. And I'll tell you what that is on the other side. We're going to finish this conversation. The Eagles, interesting. Were the Chiefs going to get him? They had the next pick, but they gave up some stuff to get up to 31 to get him. We'll talk about that on the other side. We'll also talk about what's left for the Alabama guys. How do you explain the Shedeur situation? Is it as much about Shedeur as it is about needs, and or is it they don't want drama? What is it? Why? How can a guy who, when the season ended, was projected as a potential number 1 overall pick not even go in the first round? What happened since the end of the season till last night? We'll talk about it. You're listening to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier right here on this Free For All Friday, powered by TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness and powered by Box Eye Care. Love you, big bro. Rest in peace, Hollis Thomas. We are honoring you today. Thank you. And we'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Exclusive traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good TGIF to you. we are moving right along on those Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets. A little slow handling, however, on 69 on that northbound lane to Skyland Boulevard. Doesn't look like it's anything unusual, just stoplight delays. And we're also looking good inside the construction zone, 2059, both east and westbound between Joe Malisham and 359. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell.
Townsend Nissan on Skyland Boulevard has all tariff-free new Nissans in stock and ready to be discounted for immediate sales. You've got to shop Townsend Nissan for huge savings right now. Townsend Nissan Tuscaloosa.
Luxury is having a choice between Taco Bell's new $5, $7, and $9 Lux Craving Boxes. It's luxury because there's no wrong choices. There's just right cravings. So choose your Lux Cravings box at Taco Bell today. At participating stores while supplies last. Prices vary. Drinks exclude freezes. Tax extra.
There is no price tag on love. It's not in your bank account or in your retirement fund, and the price tag isn't the point when you shop at Fincher and Osmond. The point is, you love her, and if your budget is $200 or $20,000, it's here at Fincher and Osmond, and she'll love it.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher & Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Spring is here, and with it, some hot savings at BMW of Tuscaloosa. Looking for an affordable sedan? They've got $5,000 off every 2 Series in stock. And why stop there? They're adding that deal to all 5 Series models, too. This warm weather has them feeling generous, so they're also knocking off $10,000 when you lease a new i4 or i5. Plus, they've got excellent financing options to help you save even more. They're putting money back in your pocket everywhere. Hurry to BMW of Tuscaloosa and take advantage of these incredible offers while you still can.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A mix of sun and clouds today. The chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly this afternoon and early tonight. The high today 81, tonight's low 63. Tomorrow partly sunny with only widely scattered showers around. The high 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
That's right. It's a free-for-all Friday powered by the TJ's Pharmacy. You can find them online. The website that you need to make a note of is tjspharmacy.com. And that will be the new website. So go ahead and mark that down. But until then, you can just follow pharmacymidtown.com and find them physically located at 303 Harbor Road East. Call them at 205-752-0627. That's right, TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness, formerly the pharmacy at Midtown. New location, but same great people, staff, and experience. You need a local pharmacy. There's nobody better than TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness. 303 Hargrove Road East. X. Before we get deeper back into some of the thoughts on the on the draft and transfer portal, I have to tell you what this is. They were showing, they traded up to get Jackson Dart, talking about the Giants, and he was smiling and he was happy. And Saban said the following, and I thought it was tacky. This is just Martin's opinion, but it's a pretty strong one. Saban said, "Yep, that's the exact same smile and look he had when I told him we were changing quarterbacks at halftime of the national championship game." I was like, for all of us who felt like he didn't want Jalen to be his quarterback, and I felt at times he sabotaged him or didn't give him everything he needed to be successful. This is not a retro opinion. That was my opinion as I watched that season. And could you imagine being the starter when the guy who is calling the plays for you, leading you, is pulling for the guy behind you the entire season and making it known? That's the situation Jalen was playing in. And for Saban to say that in that moment, to me, was tacky. That's just Martin's opinion. But do you get what I'm saying? He literally said, "Yep, that's the look he had when I told him we were." In other words, "Hey, I got my guy." Yeah. Okay. Well, nobody. Anyway, I'm not gonna sidebar because I almost went into the whole. Everybody act like Tua was the only guy that was put in that game out of that freshman class that turned that game around. They forget.
Now, my question is, I felt the same way. We talked about it several times throughout the course of the 2017 season. But I also think Saban might have kind of helped him out the door after that season and replaced him with Loxley. But I guess my point is, could it have been shade at Jalen, or was it shade at Dayball?
I don't know if it was shade at either one. I don't think Saban said it to be shady. I don't think he was saying it to throw shade at Jalen Hurts. I just think it was just the optics of it from a Bama fan who already, I understand, had lenses on that situation. So, like I said, I don't want to get too deep into it. I just thought for Saban, who is so keen with his words and stuff like that, that there could have been so many other things that could have been said other than that moment. But anyway, that moment probably changed in a lot of ways, changed the trajectory of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, one of the, I forget which magazine it was, top 100 most influential people in America, right along all others. And had he not had that bounce back, comeback story from being benched in a national championship game, do we even look at him at the same way? In other words, if that moment doesn't happen, do we even look at him winning a Super Bowl the same way? So I don't think Saban meant it that way. I was just saying that as sharp as he is, it was just like, don't do that. But anyway, let's get back to the draft, man. We talked about Booker. We talked about his strengths. We talked about it, and everything. That was a perfect fit. But for the Eagles, what? I don't even know what do you call the Eagles? Like when Alabama players, they had to, it's kind of reminds me of the Dolphins, but the Dolphins just never could get over the hump. When I was Deuce's age and growing, the Dolphins had like 6 or 7 Alabama guys. Well, I think 1/3, I mean, 1/4 of the Eagles roster, if they all come back next year, will be Alabama and Georgia guys. So,
15.
huh?
It's 15. It's including Jalen. It's 15.
That's what I'm saying. And so if you got 52 guys on your roster, that's about a quarter of them right there. Almost a quarter anyway. No, that would be a quarter because, that'd be 60. If you had 60 players, 15 would be a quarter of them. So it's crazy. And it's a perfect fit, though, based on just the way the Eagles play defense. And so kudos to him.
Yeah, no, I said it yesterday. We talked about it yesterday. Do not fool around and let Booker or Campbell fall to Philly. Was a little surprised that Booker went as high as he did, but I also forgot that Zach Martin, a potential Hall of Fame guard, just retired, and now you're plugging him in with what most people consider the best guard and most powerful guard in this draft, and a potential Pro Bowl caliber player in Tyler Booker. But my goodness, you look at how young this Philadelphia defense is, and the guys that they have, you're talking Jordan Davis, 4th year, Jalen Carter, 3rd year, Nolan Smith, 3rd year, DeJean, Mitchell. Now you throw Dean, Camp. Man, they're young and good night. They are absolutely monsters once this offense. And it's going to be interesting to see where Jihad plays because they have Dean and they brought back Ball. So are they going to play Jihad on the edge? So a lot of things you can do with him, and with that defense, it's a luxury to be able to have him.
Yeah, I think you're going to see. I told you, I think he's going to be Michael Parsons 2.0. I think they'll use him. I think it's a lot harder to learn to play inside linebacker than it is to play an edge rusher. And Parsons was able to transition to be able to play inside some. I think Jihad has shown with what little bit of experience he had, opportunities he had, that he could get around the edge. So it's going to be fun to watch those guys. But the big question that I have is the NFL shifting, X? 2 running backs in the first round and 2 quarterbacks in the first round. Think about how NFL teams in the past have reached for quarterbacks. That made no sense. I can go back and name draft picks that wouldn't that were worse than any of the guys in this draft, and they still went in the first round. 2 running backs. Did the Alabama duo or triple play, whatever you want to put, 3 of the top running backs last year was who? Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs,
Jameer Gibbs,
and of course you have to put Philadelphia Eagles All-Pro running back into the list. But 3 of the top running backs, in my opinion, were Alabama guys, at least.
If you go, I think there's 3 of the top 6. 3 of the top 6 total yards were.
Do it now.
3 of the top 6 in total rushing yards were Alabama guys, and then of course you're throwing in Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, and I'm drawing a blank on who the other top 6 guy was.
Was Gibbs number 6?
No, Gibbs was number 4.
And would be number 1 if he didn't split with another. I mean, think about the way Gibbs played the game. They split him in the line. But my point behind that was not a statistical thing. I'm talking about just from impact on their teams.
Yeah.
Like Green Bay is average. Green Bay showed you can have a quarterback that's young and coming up. If you got a running back with him, it's a game changer. Bijan Robinson showed that in Atlanta. Derrick Henry took Lamar Jackson to the next level. You look at it and it's just crazy. And I think these coaches realize that by not letting these two running backs get off the board. So yeah, it was an interesting turnaround. Go ahead.
And Hampton and Amari and Hampton going to the Chargers, you're talking about what could be a really amazing duo between him and Najee this year.
Yeah, and not trying to be funny, Najee better be on his P's and Q's.
Yeah.
This dude is almost just under 6 foot, 222 pounds, and runs a 4.40. So he's not just big and powerful. He can get out there and get going. So I think it'll be good for Najee to be pushed in that way. But don't be surprised if they're not splitting reps. The Chargers offensively, I'm gonna tell you, if there's a coach, and I personally think he's one of the most quirky human beings to ever walk the sideline in Harbaugh, but he can coach. And he just went Michigan on them with a all-pro quarterback. Let that sink in. The NFL isn't built to stop Michigan. They're built to stop the Chiefs and teams like that. So I'm telling you, with Justin Herbert, who is one of my favorite quarterbacks who just didn't get a lot of love, I think the guy's unbelievable. I think that Najee and Amari, I think how you say his name, it starts with an O. Kid from North Carolina, I think that they're gonna be, really, really dangerous. But anyway, X, we'll come back on the other side. Was it about Shedeur Sanders, or was it about the change in the league, or was it about the prime time? What caused this young man to go from a projected potential first overall pick to a second rounder? And is it more about the league or more about him? And what does this mean for Jalen Milroe in terms of where he lands? And will it be better for them in the long run? We'll talk about it on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good TGIF to you. We are moving right along on those Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets. A little slow handling, however, on 69 on that northbound lane to Skyland Boulevard. Doesn't look like it's anything unusual, just stoplight delays. And we're also looking good inside the construction zone, 2059, both east and westbound between Joe Malisham and 359. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
If you find yourself in a wreck, keep 3 things in mind. First, call the police. Second, take pictures of the scene. Third, call me. I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano, and I win. My firm is committed to fighting the big insurance companies and making sure you get the money you deserve. Call today for a free consultation. I don't get paid unless I win for you. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representations made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help
help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit drivesafealabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this
Got
station.
timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, I'm Chris Stewart, inviting you to save on your new Honda from Townsend Honda. It's time for spring savings. Check it out. Drive a new 2025 Passport and get 0.99% APR plus $1,000 loyalty cash. Shop TownsendHonda.com for the best selection of Hondas and certified pre-owned vehicles, all backed by the Townsend Certified Warranty. Townsend Honda, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, where every new Honda comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. 0.99% up to 36 months on select new 2025 models. $1,000 toward cap cost reduction with approved credit through Honda Financial Services. See dealer for details. Offer ends 4/30/25.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460, 553-9460, or visit them online at HoustonHydrosteam.com. And once again, Houston Hydrosteam is quality work you can stand on.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
All righty. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. At Empowerment Strategies and Solutions, our vision is simple: to be the best by empowering the best in others. We believe in empowering better people, building stronger teams, and forging championship cultures through dynamic speaking, training, strategic training, personalized coaching, and behavioral assessments. We don't just develop leaders, we unleash champions. You're ready to ignite your team's potential and build a culture that wins on purpose, with purpose. Visit martinhouston.org and let's start your journey of greatness today. Once again, it's Empowerment Strategies and Solutions, empowering better people, building stronger teams, and forging championship cultures. And we'd love to do that with you. martinhouston.org. It's martinhouston.org. Let's start your journey to greatness today. X, take it away.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing as we're going to break. You brought up Shadur Sanders, and a guy who 3 months ago was considered a potential number 1 overall pick, worst case, really top 5 pick when you were looking at teams that need a quarterback in. Of course, he goes undrafted last night. I do believe he'll be selected fairly early, if not one of the first picks in this second round when you look at some of the teams that have picks coming there. And it's kind of what's the effect? What's the reason? What is it? Overanalyzing like you see done time and time again with players? Is it the prime time effect? Is it his arrogance? I don't know for sure, but I look at it like this a little bit. I remember being 12, almost 13 years old and watching the 2004 NFL draft. And I watched a player whose dad was a former first-round draft pick, whose brother was the number 1 overall draft pick in his draft, flat out tell a team, if you draft me, I'm not playing for you. And his dad was the biggest voice in that. And everybody seems to forget that. Nobody holds that family to that standard. Nobody holds that family accountable for what they did. And that's the Manning. Okay, you don't like Dion because he's loud and brash. You don't like Shadir because he carries himself with a certain moxie. That was arrogant, in my opinion. But it's like there's a different standard.
And there's definitely different standard being applied, and different judgment being applied. The question I have for you, X, is that standard, if that was happening in today's culture, would it potentially be different? Okay.
No. I bet it happens a year or 2 from now with the grandson.
Okay. Here's the question. Just on surface, no. But is there concern because the dad was the coach and NIL? Because one of the things you don't want, and this is, you can ask any backup quarterback. If you were to ask AJ McCarron, if you were to ask Tim Tebow, I was recently in a thing with a meeting where Tim Tebow was speaking, and he literally had a coach tell him, I need you to come here and just be quiet. He actually shared a story, X, where he was offered this unbelievable deal, commercial deal, but it would have made him a spotlight player. In other words, it was an endorsement. And the coach told him, I really wish you would say no. You know, it was the New England Patriots that did that.
Yep.
Okay.
I've heard that before.
Okay. And then they cut him a couple days later after telling him not to take the money, right? But anyway, do you think the NIL culture hurt Shadir as well, X? Potentially, I should say, not as well, potentially.
I mean, sure, maybe, but it's the time of the draft. For a long time, these incoming rookies were getting paid and doing endorsements. So you're saying, well, because he's been doing it for a couple of years, maybe that's more impactful. But there have been plenty of rookies that had endorsement deals and doing commercials leading into their drafts, getting money before they got drafted.
I think it's different, though, in the sense of, and I don't know if it impacted. I'm not saying it impacted, but I think his is different. And I think all of these players coming in different. Is one of the things that NFL guys do like is the fact that these guys are hungry for to get to that level and start making that money. Right?
Yeah. Now, I guess my point is, when I look at it and I bring up the Manning situation, is this. We heard what they did. We heard and we watched what they did with Eli. He's not going to play for this team. If you draft him, he's going to sit out, blah, blah. But then you turn around and we've already seen how they've managed Arch. Of saying, oh, he's going to go to a specific school for this reason and that reason, point, boom.
They should do that, X. They should.
I know. But what makes us think they won't do it again when he's going through the draft process?
I don't know. But I think if you search that up, was there not some beef between them and that team? I think if you go back, they didn't just say this is where he wants to go. They just specifically told that team. They didn't tell everybody. It was, I think, that team, and there was beef. And I don't remember if it was a beef between family or if it was a beef that happened during the draft or something. Now, I'm not making any excuses because I don't even know what all may have happened with Shedeur and Dion and all of that. But they also didn't start doing it from before the evaluation started, Xavier. That was a late in the game, we're not going if you've drafted him type of conversation, if I remember correctly. Of course, media coverage is so different now. It could have been going on for 3 months. I don't remember. But it seemed like that was like the final week of the draft, and they started telling them, guys, we're telling you, if you do this, he's not coming. And of course, you know what the Chargers did, right? They drafted him and then used him to get draft picks. So the Chargers weren't stupid. You ain't going to threaten us. We're going to draft him and then make y'all do something. And whoever wants him, going to pay us for him. And that's what they did with it. But anyway, what's the impact of Shedeur on Jalen Milroe, man? In the fact there's only 2 quarterbacks. Let's be real. There's only 2 quarterbacks, period.
Yeah. When I look into the second round, Cleveland still needs a quarterback of the future.
That's why
I don't think Deshaun.
That's why he'll be the third pick.
I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to do anything there, especially after re-tearing his Achilles. You look at Pittsburgh still needs a quarterback of the future. You look at the Rams potentially drafting a quarterback because of where Matthew Stafford's in his career. There's been rumors that the Lions want a backup quarterback because Goff is starting to get up there in age and they have a really young core. There's several teams that when you look through it and go, okay, these teams still need quarterbacks and quarterbacks of the future. Now, the question is, are they going to take a guy in this year's class with that mindset, or are they going to try to wait till next year? And you hope an Arch Manning enters the draft. You hope a Drew Aller enters the draft. You hope and hope. So,
if you're taking that approach, you're planning on sucking it up in 2025. If you're thinking about waiting for Arch Manning, Arch Manning's going to be a top draft pick regardless. When you look at it, I said Shedeur will be off the board first, but he may not. Cleveland has the first pick and the 4th pick. I could see Cleveland because I could see Cleveland getting a different need at 33 because the Texans, I doubt if they draft a quarterback. And the Titans are the 3rd pick right now at 35, and they got their quarterback last night. So I don't see that, that happening. And then then Cleveland picks. But I think both of these guys, I think it's possible that there'll be 2 quarterbacks taken in the first 5 picks, because Cleveland sits at 4, 1 and 4, and the Raiders, who they talked about as a possible landing place for Jalen Milroe, they have Geno Smith, guy that's going to be there. I would not be surprised to see them take somebody at that 37th spot. Where's New England at quarterback?
I mean, they have Drake May, who they drafted last year. I don't think
that's right.
And you also, like you said, you have the Raiders. You also have the Saints that will be looking for a quarterback. So it kind of gets to the point where it's like, hey, there's several teams that you can see potentially taking a quarterback fairly early in this. Now, Pittsburgh's going to have to make a trade or something because they don't have a 2nd-round pick after their trade for DK Metcalf. So who are you willing to give up? What are you willing to package for one of these quarterbacks? Because that's who it feels like you're tied to.
I don't think they will. I think they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers after the draft. Yep. So Super Joe, do what?
Rodgers is 42 years old.
Yeah, that may be the plan. So yeah, I don't know. I think they'll be active still in the free agency market. Super Joe, you're in with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir? Super Joe, he's going once, going twice. You're dropped like a bad cold. All right. All right, X, and we'll have some more conversation around the draft on Monday because there'll be some more details. Real quick, which guys do you see going today? Do you see Milroe going off the board today?
Yeah, I see Jalen going today. I see Jalen going. I see him going somewhere in the second round. Like I said, that with all those teams that I think that will still look at potential quarterbacks today, I think he'll be. Shoot, he might be the first one taken. Who knows? Really now.
Yeah, because nobody makes it dark to be the second guy.
I told you. We
I know.
talked about it.
About all the other people. With Dave Hole, it doesn't surprise me, but yeah, you said it. So, will it just be Jalen today, or do you think another Alabama guy gets in? And I think it's the second and third round today.
Yeah, I think it might just be Jalen today. Honestly, I think we have a run. I think we have a run tomorrow. I think he's early tomorrow, or not maybe early, but I think you see Malachi and Hugo in the fourth round, that range, and then I think you start to see. It wouldn't surprise me if you fool around and you see CJ and Robbie get drafted for different reasons.
All right. Hey, let's get to that portal conversation. Bama gets another tight end. So does the West Virginia guy still come? So that's interesting. And X, if you're one of the tight ends that's here, what are you thinking? You know, because now you go from nobody playing till you got two guys that played a lot of games. And I'm not saying one of these guys won't be the starter. I mean,
I think Dalton. You know, we talked about it yesterday. San Marco coming in and the conflict of a young guy with 3 years versus a guy with just 1 year left. When you have the younger guys, I think you look at Dalton potentially being the starting inline guy potentially. And you still have Quavos as the move tight end. Now, the thing about it is all these guys we've brought in, we're really deep at that inline now, and you only got a couple options at the move tight end.
Go. All right. Transition to Griffin. Transition to Griffin in the basketball.
Okay.
Before
Rylan Griffin. Rylan Griffin is going to be back on campus today. Of course, he spent his freshman year at Alabama before transferring last year to Kansas. It'll be interesting to see if he comes back. And once again, he's 6'6". That length, that range on the perimeter that we talked about Alabama really needing after this past season.
Absolutely. I think in like I said, don't share details. Sometimes the stuff I know. This was a kid who transferred not because he necessarily wanted to, but because of some off the court things that were going on. And based on how that was handled and resolved, we'll determine whether or not he's back. I think he loved playing for Alabama. And now all of a sudden, Alabama has not just a shooter. You got Wrightsell and Griffin, Riley. You got some defensive guards. I mean, those dudes can play some defense. So, man, that would be huge. X. Closing thoughts really quick.
Hey, it's been a great show today, an emotional show. But we made it through, Pops. I love you. Uncle Alex, love you. It has been a rough 24 hours, but God's got us. We'll be back on Monday.
That's right. And once again, the show was in honor of my big bro, Hollis. Unexpected passing on yesterday, 57 years young. Love you. Rest in peace. Gone way too soon. But thank all of the callers, listeners, and chatters for your sentiments and your questions and your concerns. But God is good, and I say it as I do every day: trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge Him; He will direct your path. Don't understand it, but I trust Him and I love Him, and I will acknowledge Him even in this. God, greater days ahead for myself and my family. And I pray and wish the same for you. We'll be back on Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Roll Tide, everybody. Have a blessed, prosperous, and successful weekend. And hey, drop by Harvest Church, located right there on Highway 82. Harvest Church, hctuscaloosa.com. Find out exactly where we're located. Thank you, and God bless. Have a great weekend. Oh, by the way, somebody Northport tomorrow for the Why I Believe conference, 9:00 a.m. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good for